chance, but it's do or die based on like the hiatus that he took and based on the fact that, he had that back-to-back loss against Davalishvili.
Yeah,
Dishvili.
dude, you actually nailed that.
Did I? Let's
Yeah.
go. And yeah, I mean, there's nobody on his record looking back that like the casuals can really like point to and be like, yeah, that's a good win under O'Malley's belt. A lot of people like myself just see like this wacky persona who likes to dress up and paint his fingernails and all that fun stuff. You know what I mean? That being said, I
Hey,
learned
just to
that
be
he is
clear,
a
there was never no nail painting.
he looks like
He just looks like
forgive
Ronald
me
McDonald.
for assuming a dude who looks like that is painting his nails, but no. So I also found out that he has adopted some unique training methods for this fight. He has been an anti-gooner for a little bit of time. So yeah, that's and then I guess that wasn't working for him, so now he's doing it in moderation, and that is public knowledge for everybody to be talking about prior to this fight. I love the world that we live in. I'm not going to bore you guys. You're both going to be able to talk about this more in depth. I'm going to go with Mr. O'Malley by knockout in the third round just because, he's got the youth over Zahabi. He's got a better reach by a long shot. He's got a better record, and he's got that chip on his shoulder. He needs this win, and he needs it to be a statement win.
Yeah. No, you are very correct that this needs to be not just a win, but I do think he needs to get a knockout because, yes, he has 2 losses to Merab, but right now Merab's not the champion. Petr Yan is the champion, and Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan have some unfinished beef. So I really see if he goes out, gets a highlight reel knockout like he had when he was coming up the ranks. And to your point, Tyler, he doesn't have a lot of big names on his resume because the UFC was cradling him in a sense. They were being strategic with the matchups they gave. So he wasn't getting thrown against any killers because, he was on the first season of Dana White's Contender Series. He was that sort of homegrown UFC star that they've invested a lot of money in. So they give him favorable matchups. And it even when he won the belt off Aljo, I think Aljo had fought 2 months prior against Henry Cejudo. So his rise was definitely kind of handpicked by the UFC. Now he did have a drug testing failure for Turinabol, which now I believe does not. If it happened today, he wouldn't have gotten a ding for it, but it was kind of it's hard to get drug testing right, and so I still think he was a clean athlete during that time. Anyway, that sort of derailed the hype train. But when he was rising through the ranks, he was just leaving a trail of bodies behind with spectacular highlight reel KOs. And he needs to get back to that in this fight if he's going to, potentially be gifted like another title shot with Petr Yan. Here's how he will do it. Okay. Zahabi is a very, very smart fighter. He's going to, the fact that he knows Sean O'Malley is coming for that KO means he's going to be ready for it. He's going to be staying at range. He's going to be cautious. He's going to be ready for a counter strike. What O'Malley, I think, needs to do, I think he needs to put in some, not distracting work, but I think he needs to be throwing the teep kicks, throwing the calf kicks. I think he needs to be doing just jabs, kind of lulling Zahabi into a sense of, all right, he's not about to try to do like some, spinning wheel kick on me. And then he needs to do a spinning wheel kick. I got Sean O'Malley by a spinning. Yes. No, actually, give me question mark kick KO in the second round.
Dude, that would be have there been any question mark kick KOs in the UFC history?
I don't think so, dude. It's such a cool strike, but I don't think it really generates much power.
Tyler, look up what a question mark kick is. Okay,
if you want to, Tyler, on that note, 2 people that have great question mark kicks: Luke Rockhold and Israel Adesanya. Those are 2 to look up. But Kevin, I like that pick. I do think that if Sean wants to even be in contention for a title shot, he does need to get a KO, and it needs to be spectacular. I don't know how tough Zahabi is, but I do remember watching a clip where Jose Aldo was like, I think he literally like soccer kicked him in the head and he was still up. And Jose Aldo has some of the most insane power from 135 to 145 pounds. So he's clearly pretty tough. I will say these long, rangy guys with good striking, it doesn't really matter how tough people are. They can just find your chin and put you out cold. And I think Sean O'Malley is an example of that. Alex Pereira is an example. Carlos Prates, who's like one of my favorite fighters right now, is a great example too. So I think that O'Malley can get the KO. I do think he's going to win this fight. Personally, I feel like he's going to just pick Zahabi apart, and it's going to end with Sean winning a decision. But
Okay.
honestly, if he does get a KO, I'm not going to be upset. I don't want him to get the next title shot for bantamweight. I think Merab deserves a rematch, but I would like to see if Sean, is still one of those top guys. I do want to see him get the win. We'll find out Sunday night, baby. We'll find out.
Sunday night, we're going to find out. I
Sunday.
do want to see Sean and Piotr Jan run it back. I think
Yeah.
that first fight, some people would say it was a robbery. And speaking of robberies, and speaking of that Jose Aldo Jr., Aiemann Zahabi, I don't know how to say his first name, actually, I'm realizing now. Aiemann Zahabi.
I'm mine.
But anyway, that fight against Jose Aldo was such a robbery. They did Jose Aldo Jr. so dirty in that fight. Only 2 out of 20 media outlets scored it for Zahabi. That round that you're talking about, I believe 2 of the judges gave it to him. If not that, actually, no, never mind. That was the 3rd round. I'm pretty sure everyone gave him the 3rd round. But yeah, that was, I think, a pretty clear robbery. And that there's a lot of bias coming from me in this pick because I do like Sean. I listen to his podcast every now and then. He was on Theo Von podcast back like 8 years ago. So but I don't like Zahabi. And I do wonder if I'm clouding my judgment. And I do wonder if that's why the line is the plus 330 is kind of crazy because he's on a 7-fight win streak. He beat Jose Aldo, not really, but he still hung in there with him. His actually talking about training pedigree, I got it right here. Yeah, he's Faraz Zahabi's younger brother. That's the guy who runs the TriStar MMA gym out of Canada. Has some great fighters there. So there's a chance
George
I'm
St. Pierre, right?
getting my judgment clouded. I think if you hooked me up to a lie detector test and I had to say which underdog has the best chance of getting it done,
Yeah.
I'm not hooked up to a lie detector test, so I'm not going to say it. But there,
Right.
yeah. Tyler, have you made your pick yet? Oh, yeah, you started with your pick.
Yeah, I started with it. I don't know that much to say about this one. Yeah, no, O'Malley knockout. I do want to see. I have yet to see a leg knockout in my. Yeah, so I need to see it.
Right.
Oh.
Well, no, I'm not going to put it out there. I was going to say maybe a leg break knockout could be that.
Oh,
In the
no.
back of my head, I've been because this is a fight card that I'm just so excited for. Like it seems like it can't not deliver, but man,
Yeah.
there is a chance that Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia, they're both hesitant. They don't really get into it. It goes to decision. Chance that Bo Nickel just kind of has a boring wrestle hug fest, gets the win. Then we go on to what's the next one? Say Derek Lewis, Jock Hook just isn't that good of a fight. Then we get to this one. Zahabi ends up keeping Sean O'Malley at range. When there is a chance that this card doesn't deliver, and I'm not going to entertain it. I'm gonna edit that part out. Let's get to the next fight.
What's wrong with you?
All right. All right, here we go.
Good. That's
This
good.
is history, going for history, the first ever fighter to hold 3 belts in 3 different weight classes.